There we go. We should. All being well.
There we go. We should.
Of that.
Oh, hello. Where did
There we go. We should.
Of that.
There we go. We should.
That is, yeah. There we go.
Thank you very much. That was a horrible loop. Didn't enjoy that. Oh dearie me.
That's probably because you've got one browser open for about 50 tabs.
Have you?
Switching between the YouTube feed and the
you know
social.
that makes me feel all itchy, right? Just so that you know.
I'll get rid of one tab. There we go.
Oh, a whole tab.
2 tabs.
Oh, what a gent. I suppose I better try and get into the show notes, hadn't I?
La, la,
536, is it? Yeah.
It is, yes. Very much so. It's all a bit exciting.
Is it?
It's not very often I have a beer during the week, unless it's on a Wednesday night and we're on a show. But
all right. So in other words, you have a beer on a Wednesday night, but other than that,
I don't know. I save my drinking to the 2 weekends. Captain Cruz says Canadian background picture. Carlos, no, it's not Canada. Can anyone guess what airport I'm at this week?
Right.
And yes, Dirk, that is a 737-200 with the Pratt & Whitney JT8D.
Carlos.
Engines, yes, Andy.
Well, the engines are missing on that thing.
Just a
It's just a cal yet.
Yeah.
Are you going to put names on the rest of the stories?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know whether we were going to get John join us or not, so he hasn't messaged me, so he's probably either still flying or delayed. I've done the first 3. I'm now going to continue the rest of them.
Oh, I got a bit excited. I've invested in something for the studio.
Andy.
And I just haven't had time to do it yet. But look, here you go. Look, here's my little investment for the studio.
A tray?
A white tray?
No, it's a light. It's an LED panel.
Oh. Pushing the boat out.
Is
there.
it on?
No, not yet.
Oh.
No, well, no, because it's Carlos. Come on.
Oh, you've got to...
It's got to go up on the ceiling and stuff.
You've got a massive light up there anyway.
No, it's dead. It's died.
Really?
Yeah, it kept popping the fuse, so I've had to take it off.
Mind you, we have had that light in there for about 600 years.
No, it doesn't owe us anything. But I thought I'd invest in a flat panel LED. Because at the moment I'm using these, but they're not quite bright enough in this space. So it's all right, but that's why the camera's not as good as it should be, because it is not getting quite enough light. Oh God, 2 minutes. Are you ready?
I is.
Okay, very good. Glad one of us is. There we go. It's all right. I'm prepared now. It's fine. And relax. So that be that.
Done. There we go. Any guesses to where the airport is behind me? No? Alaska. No, it's not Alaska. Sorry. Not Alaska.
Shush now.
No, it's not Norway, Darren. Sorry, not Norway. You're kind of in the sort of rightish area, Andy. I'd say, wouldn't he? With Norway, ish.
No, you need to work on geography.
All right, okay.
Absolutely nowhere near.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
Hang on, sorry, we're going to start 15 seconds late.
A yellow-brown airport. Yellow-brown airport. No, John, you're miles away.
Okay, here we go. Good luck, everyone. Here we go.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 536 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, lightning strikes at BA, and no, it's nothing to do with the workforce. We have not one, not two, but three top tens, and one VW car driver ends up with an epic fine. In the military news this week, one pilot tries out the new convertible Eurofighter Typhoon jet, and the RAF go on a big exercise minus the sweatbands. So joining me this week, as always, over in the PTUK Master Suite Studio of Love, it's Matt Smith.
The what now? You feeling all right, dear? The Masters... I don't want to delve into the narrative behind that decision. Anyway, yes, hello, I'm here.
How are you, Matt?
Yes, I'm fabulous. Slightly shocked now, but other than that, yeah,
Good.
fabulous. Yeah, absolutely. Living the dream.
There's a lot of love in that studio, that's all I'm going to say.
Right, okay.
Oh, and just a quick one. In the chat room, Dirk S. has picked the correct answer.
Okay, very good. All right. Yeah, that means nothing to everyone else because you haven't told them what's going on yet.
If I move my chair, what airport is behind me? The tail of the 737-200 gives it away.
Yeah.
Here.
I should just say that was only made obvious by the fact that Andy told you.
No, I knew it because I took that picture.
No. I mean, but the tail fin thing was pointed out by Andy.
Oh, yes,
you can't take the credit for that one, dear boy.
Yeah. So well done to Dirk. Yes, it's Geneva Airport behind me. So yeah, point to you there, Dirk. Well done. And also joining us this evening is our amazing pilot of all things Airbus and our sim training captain as well. It is, of course, Andy.
Good evening.
And Andy has not been on the beer. Good evening, Andy. Nice to see you.
He's on the zero beer, to be fair.
On the zero beers,
I am, yeah. I'm drinking Guinness Zero this evening. Oh, you can't even really see that.
Definitely.
It doesn't want to show it because it goes blue.
Is that the Nitro Surge can? Andy, or is that...
What does that
It's
mean?
Zero. Guinness Zero.
No, I mean, it's a draft can, so you'd have to do the upturny thing and pour it that way. No?
No, just lift it up and put it to your lips.
Oh, right, okay.
Drink it.
Okay, this is going really well.
How could you... God, I hope Alan White's not watching the show. He'd be mortified by that prospect.
Well, the good news is he's out with Nev at the moment.
He is out with Nev, yes. Good segue there. Yes, Nev is not joining us this evening. He is away over in Dublin with our listener and good friend of the show, Alan White, this evening. So I'm sure he might be in the chat room. You never know. You know what Nev's like. You know, he drops in when he's out and about. But
nobody tell him we started 15 seconds late.
No. Well, no. That's just a delay, Matt, with the atomic clock.
Wow. Okay. Come on, move on.
All right, move on. So we've got loads of stuff to get through on the show tonight. We've got obviously 3 top tens, as I said earlier. We've also got our retro airline ad of the week, where we're going back to 1985 this week, and it's time for me, because Nev's not here this week, so it's time for me to have a small rant. For those.
Okay. Do I need to play Nev Stinger or?
No, you don't.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, you don't have to worry about that. It's but basically this is something I think I spoke to you about this, Matt. This week I can't remember.
You gave me a lift into work yesterday, and we were talking about it. Yeah.
Now I this week have been online and booked our regular trip back to the lovely island of Malta. Those of you regular viewers of the show will know that I do love Malta. It's a second home for me. I love going back there. So does my wife, Gemma. So I booked up this week to go back to Malta. And as I do every year, I do everything in separate parts. I book the flights separate, the apartments separate, etc. Anyway, flights. So low cost airlines, which I would normally use, Ryanair or EasyJet as well, that fly to Malta. Thought I'd look at those first, as I would do every year. I normally end up booking with Ryanair, to be fair. Looked at them this year, and I got quite the shock when I looked at the prices, because the prices to fly to Malta with, we'll start off with, let me just pick up here, with Ryanair first. Ryanair came in with return flights, but bear in mind this is with luggage, at £732 flying from Stansted return with a 20-kilo suitcase each.
How much?
£732.
What?
Okay, so I thought, well, I'll look at Gatwick, because Gatwick's the other option for flying to Malta as well as Stansted. So EasyJet fly from Gatwick to Malta. They came in at £636 with a suitcase each on the way out and way back. So I looked at BA. Now, the price, had I've not used my Avios points that I had a few of left on my account, now the price of that would have been £650. So it's around about 20 quid more than EasyJet, which is quite surprising, really, flying out on the Airbus A321 from Gatwick. But you look at the difference between flying with Ryanair, which was, as I said, 732 quid, or 650 with Ryanair. It just goes to show that it does often pay to look around and not just rely on Ryanair and EasyJet, the usual general low-cost carriers that everyone sort of lives and breathes. It does sometimes pay to look at the bigger carriers such as BA. Now, I use my Avios points, so the flights in the end came in for me at 455 quid, which is, again, really cheap. But it does prove a point, though, does it? If you look around, you can sometimes find flights a lot cheaper, and not just with the likes of Ryanair and EasyJet. Andy, thoughts?
Yeah, BA's operation out of Gatwick isn't British Airways anyway. It's Euroflyer.
Oh,
it's a different airline.
Yeah.
Which is more low cost side. But yeah, what time of year is it? What's going on in Malta?
It's June. We're flying out in June. So that's, yeah.
Is there anything happening in Malta at that time?
No. All the events are in July and August this year. The big events, anyway.
Well, if all airlines sort of similar prices and the algorithms tell them that's the time that people want to go, did you look at any other times of year to compare it?
I didn't, to be fair, Andy. I just looked at the week that we wanted to go in June. But it was weird because last year, as Matt will know, I went out to Malta with my dad in the beginning of June for a week, and the prices from Stansted were half the price with Ryanair, even with luggage.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
there must be a lot of demand, or they fly in there less as well. Less scheduled trips, so they know they can fill an aircraft, so they can charge more.
Yeah, Darren Smith in the chat room has just said, I'll pop that up on the screen there. He's just said, how about KM Malta, XAir Malta? I did look at them as well, because you get your luggage included in the price with that, and they were quite expensive as well. And the flight times, the unfortunate thing, and this is the same thing with Ryanair and EasyJet, the flight times are also not that great. I could have booked cheaper flights of Ryanair and EasyJet from Gatwick and Stansted respectively and paid a little bit less, but I'd have completely lost my first day in Malta on a Saturday, because it gets you in at 2:30 on Sunday morning, or you'd lose most of your last day of the holiday because you fly back early. So, yeah. Then that's the other thing as well. You know, choosing the flight time. The flight time difference in prices with difference in flight times is quite a lot as well. So, pays to look around is my advice when you're flying within Europe. Yeah, and obviously if you've got Avios points, it makes things a lot cheaper as well, which is thankful. So I'm sure you've probably got a few of those, Andy.
Yeah, I've got a fair few Avios that I need to use actually.
Yeah, that's why I used ours up, because all the rules change soon. So yeah, so there we go. That's my two penneth out of the way for this week. Right, let's see who's in the chat room this week. We have got Richard Adams kicking things off in there tonight. He was in there nice and early. Mazouz, our local listener, Mazouz Karim, good to see you in there. Dirk S, hello. Ace Airstream, hello to you. John Falk, good evening. Bill. Bill Aranex in there. Hello to you, Bill. Asking earlier, wondering how Nev's leg is. I think he's doing a lot better, isn't he, Matt?
He is, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. He's doing well. He was saying last week that the surgeons are very pleased with how the recovery is going. So yeah, absolutely.
Hobby time. Good evening to you, Masha. Hello, Masha. The lovely Masha's in there. Lovely to see you in there. Captain Cruz is in there. Darren Smith. Hello to you. Let me scroll down. Richard E. Flag, hello to you as well. Great pictures again this week on your site. Love those. And I think I've not missed anyone else out on the chat room. There we go. Probably some people listening as well who might not be in the chat room. But anyway, hello to everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Don't forget we're live here every Wednesday night on YouTube at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. So make sure you hit the subscribe and bell icon to be notified when we are live. Right, tons to get through. So, Matt, if you're ready, hit that commercial news button.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
First story this week is from the dailymail.co.uk. And you may have seen this on the social media this week. The videos did prove to be quite, popular, I would say, on social media. United Airlines Boeing jet makes emergency landing after 6 passengers were injured during the plane's mid-air jolt. A United Airlines flight from Nigeria was forced to make an emergency landing after 6 people were injured following an unexpected mid-air jolt. The Washington, D.C.-bound flight 613 was diverted back to Lagos after a technical issue and an unexpected aircraft movement on Friday, according to the airline. The 787-8 with 245 passengers and the 8 crew and 3 pilots on board departed late Thursday night. FR24 data showed the plane dipping abruptly from cruising altitude 93 minutes after takeoff, according to CNN. Footage reportedly captured by passengers showed chaos on the aircraft with food trays and personal items scattered across the aircraft. It landed safely in Lagos, and 4 passengers and 2 flight attendants were seen at a hospital for minor injuries and have been since released, a United Airlines spokesperson said. It's unclear what caused the sudden movement, but United Airlines said they are working with aviation authorities in the US and Nigeria to understand the cause. Flight tracking data shows the same aircraft on the same journey from Lagos to Washington's Dulles International Airport had previously been diverted on Tuesday. That flight rapidly dropped 1,000 feet, approximately 89 minutes into the flight, and was diverted to Accra, Ghana. And it's unknown if the 2 diversions are related. I think it's one of the things we say on the show quite a bit, Andy. I know you're on the flight deck, so when you're in charge, you flick that switch above your head to tell people to put their seatbelts on. But I know one of the warnings that you and the crew often give is for, even when you're sitting in your seat as a passenger, to keep that seatbelt fastened.
Yeah, we always keep ours fastened up front, the lap strap anyway, for the entire flight, shoulder straps for the critical phase of flight. But this is interesting that it returned 93 minutes after takeoff to its departure point. So it had to go another 93 minutes back. And also, the airline is saying it's a technical issue. Now, at first reading that, I thought, oh, it sounds like wind shear or something like that. But then to read that it had something very similar happen on a previous flight as well, a similar time as well, which is very coincidental. I think that's just pure coincidence. Makes this sound like it could be flight control issues of some sort, rather than
weather,
wind shear and clear air turbulence. But we won't know until there'll be an investigation into this. Absolutely, I'm sure, especially if people have been hurt like that, and the carnage in the cabin. It's been quite a jolt, as they put it.
Yeah, the state of that cabin, Matt, put the pictures up on the screen there. It's quite a mess. I'm guessing they were either midway through or starting the meal service when this happened, Andy.
Yeah, it's always the time, isn't it? The most amount of stuff out in the cabin, and that happens.
Yeah. Murphy's Law very much dictates that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously with the food carts, the actual galley carts and stuff that are in the aisle at the time, for one of those probably to lift off the floor and can be quite a dangerous item as well to have loose.
Yeah, absolutely. And just thinking about if it was a flight control issue, you don't actually need that much of an input at sort of high altitude to cause a huge upset like that. We train for this sort of thing of upsets at altitude, and it really does not take a lot of movement in the control surface. So it'd be interesting to see what the outcome of this is.
What's it like for you as a pilot, Andy, when you're flying, at cruise and you hit turbulence like that? As a pilot, when you obviously for the passengers sitting in the back, is it a different kind of sensation for you sitting at the front?
Yeah, because you're at the extremity of the moment arm. Because of course pitch is controlled from the end, so you're right at the other end of the moment arm, so you feel it differently. But also, the turbulence comes in many different forms: light, moderate, severe. Most of the time people report severe turbulence. It's not. There's definitions to it. I mean, with severe turbulence, the aircraft's uncontrollable. But normally, you feel the aircraft moving, but you look at the instruments and not a lot's actually happening. It's just literally like riding down a cobbled street, something like that. But it does feel different. You can feel it through the seat of your pants, because normally when you fly an aircraft and you've flown it a long time, you know the movement of the aircraft and you can feel it through the seat of your pants.
Have you ever had a moment, Andy, just before we move on, that in your flying career where it's even the severity of the turbulence has even kind of rattled you a bit, and you thought, "Wow, this is not good, not great."
It doesn't rattle you at the time, because you just immediately go into, right, I need to sort this out and deal with it. And after, I've had a couple of occasions where I'd say it was moderate turbulence. I had one event overhead Silverstone, actually, over the race circuit, descending, hit quite moderate turbulence, and the aircraft just wouldn't descend any further. I was trying speed brakes, that wouldn't do it. The speed was fluctuating all over the place. I was just trying to get out of this layer. It was only afterwards it's like, oh yeah, that was a bit uncomfortable, wasn't it? But yeah, no,
tense, I think is the word you're looking for.
Tense, yeah.
Turbulence is not going to destroy the aircraft. It's not going to kill you. So it's just uncomfortable, really. And it can cause injuries. I will say that, but the airframe can easily take it. So it's just a case of trying to get out of it.
Andy, you've got a question in the chat room. I'll just pop that up on the screen there from Bill.
It would have to be a massive pressure change.
Sorry, the question that that Andy's being asked by Bill is, Andy, would a barometric pressure change cause that kind of an altitude variation?
You only really get big pressure changes lower down in the atmosphere as well, where the air's thicker and the pressure can change. When you're right up in the upper atmosphere where we fly, you get slight variations, but nothing that would cause 1,000 foot. And again, it would cause a difference on the instrumentation, but I don't think it would actually cause any real difference to your actual altitude. But that's something I've never really thought of before.
Interesting.
Now, Matt, you've got the next story, and obviously a Ryanair story. And I think this is especially for anyone who, you've seen them. We've all seen them at the airports. The kind of the things that you drop your bags in to prove that your bag can go in the overhead compartments.
Yes, true. It's sun.co.uk is the source on this one, where we should always go for our aviation-based news. And the headline is: Dad furious after Ryanair charges him £100 for illegal baggage rule. One passenger has demanded an apology and refund from Ryanair after he was fined £100 before boarding a flight. John Butler was heading on holiday with his family when they were stopped in the airport airport and forced to pay £50 each for 2 of their bags, which reportedly were too big for carry-on. John, his wife and their 2 children were heading from Dublin to Lanzarote last month for a 10-day holiday. The family were about to board the plane when John, 50, I hate it when they do that. Why is the age even remotely relevant to that, was told by Ryanair staff that his and his son's cabin bags were over the airline's limit and owed £50 each. John placed his bags into the sizer, where a staff member said the material straps were too big and stuck out of the airline's measuring container. The dad of 2 challenged the charge when the staff member allegedly warned his daughter that they would not go on holiday if John did not pay the fine. During the situation, John asked for the staff member's name, but she reportedly turned her name badge backwards. That's not very not very sporting. John explained, when we get to the gate on time and are probably the last 2 or 3 people going in, the couple ahead of us are pulled aside about their bag being too big. I was standing there oblivious to what was going on. Then the next minute I'm told, you step aside as well. John then recalls the staff member telling them that they would be charged €120 because the bags were too big. John said that it was obvious that the bags were fine, but the staff member said the handle was above it and just kept insisting. The lady then told John's daughter they wouldn't be going on holiday. Anyway, as I say, sort of repeating itself there a bit, but yeah, I mean, I think there's a strong argument here for the operator being a little bit overzealous, perhaps. I don't know.
Money's money. There's money to be made. If you can find a reason to charge somebody more, why not?
Yeah, I do get that. It's just, I mean, if it's fitting in the, I don't know. I think for many of us, the issue here is actually the inconsistency of it all. Because I dare say there were other people whose bags would have been poking out at the top. If you
Absolutely.
See what I mean. I don't know how I feel about any of it, really. To be honest with you.
We've all been there at some point. Me, you, Andy, we've all been there at some point. You've stood in a queue to check in, if you're trekking in a suitcase, which you might do, and you've looked at someone's hand luggage suitcase and gone, that's huge, that's massive, and they go through. They don't get challenged. I've seen it happen a million times.
Yeah, well, as well, another thing that sometimes happens, I've seen this when I've travelled, all the overhead bins are full. So they've just been told, right, you need to find a way to get these bags off. Now, normally they'll do them free of charge on most airlines because they go, you can't fit it in there. So you take your laptops and batteries out and medicines, etc., and we'll put it in. But again, you're only getting one side of the story here as well, aren't you?
Yes.
And I mean, John did say it was obvious that the bags were fine. Obvious.
Yeah.
But the handle was sticking out of the top of the gauge thing. So how much of the handle and how much of the bag, it's... who do you believe? Ryanair gets bad press, but we don't really know their full side. Where's the pictures of it? I mean, if I was John, I'd have been taking pictures of it in that device.
Yeah, there was some pictures for the story. I don't know if you've got them there, Matt.
Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, indeed. Now I'm going to put this picture up, and I'm going to say I don't think they're sticking out. What do you reckon?
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, he's got a point.
Yeah,
he's got a point.
Absolutely. There. That's pretty awful, isn't it? Really. I mean, they're sticking out at the top there, but that's just literally because.
But they're straps. They're not the main body of the the carry-on.
Yeah,
that is fine.
Yeah, we have. I think he's. Presumably with those I wonder if that is the cabin crew member to the right hand side there.
I hope not, because they're very inappropriately dressed.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Indeed.
Also, I take it all back, John. That is obviously fine.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously.
Genuinely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we've got an overzealous, and I do get it because obviously that is how they make their money. Yes, we give this round to John. Yes, I think
absolutely.
I think we're all in agreement there. Absolutely. Let's hope the appeal is successful. I assume that as it's made the press, he is Yeah, I don't know. Now, is this, again, forgive me, because I know none of us are what I call experts with the Ryanair model, but because it's not always Ryanair agents, is it, at the gate? It's quite often, because I think they use Swissport at some airports, don't they?
Yeah, they'll have different contracts in different places with different people. That's what most low-cost carriers do.
Yeah.
There should be some form of customer service training from the airline in question in what they expect, because they are frontline. Even though they don't work for the airline, people assume they work for the airline.
Yeah.
So you'd expect something, but I'm 100% with John on this one. Shocking.
Yeah, absolutely. Bit of a fail there, I think.
Oh dear. Anyway, Andy, you've got the next story, and I think this one is exciting for you, isn't it?
Potentially.
Potentially.
This is from aerotime.aero, and London City Airport seeks CA approval for Airbus A320 NEO operations. London City Airport, LCY, has applied to the UK's Civil Aviation Authority, the CAA, for permission to allow Airbus A320 NEO aircraft to operate from the capital's smallest aviation hub. The CEO of London City, Alison Fitzgerald, believes the move would help broaden the airport's leisure destinations with fewer flight movements and see carriers such as EasyJet and Wizz Air flying to and from the airport. Arguing for the change, London City said that introducing A320neo aircraft would stimulate economic growth while maintaining operational efficiency, and introduce cleaner, quieter aircraft as part of its plans to grow in the most sustainable way possible. It would open up a range of possible new routes for passengers while incentivising airlines to modernise their fleet from older to newer generation aircraft, such as the A320neo, which are more fuel efficient, more environmentally friendly and quieter, said a spokesperson. Due to the central location of the airport, it's among the city's financial district, the type of aircraft that can land at the airport is restricted. The aircraft must be capable of making the steep approach that is required, and pilots must also be qualified to execute this type of landing. Currently, the Embraer E190-E2 and E195-E2 and the Airbus A320 are among the aircraft that are certified to operate from the airport. The potential introduction of A320neo aircraft at London City Airport is incredibly exciting. It would broaden the range of leisure destinations for our passengers, enable growth without increasing the number of flight movements, deliver much-needed economic growth, and accelerate refleeting to cleaner, quieter, new generation aircraft, said Fitzgerald. The airport's application is specifically asking the CAA to approve a new flight procedure, or an RMP-AR approach by the looks of it, which could alter the approach angle for this aircraft at the end, each runway end. The current approach angle limits the type of aircraft that uses the airport and requires those that can be certified for a steep approach. Very interesting.
Yeah, obviously, I think you picked up on this story, didn't you, Andy, in the group chat earlier on in the week when this got released. But
yeah,
what are your thoughts? Obviously, because you can't go and fly a 320 there now.
No, because BA used to fly the 18 in there, the A318, with the steep approach modification, which allowed spoiler use down the approach to maintain the. I think it's a 3.5 degree glide path. It might be steeper than that. I can't remember actually. But their workaround here, putting in an RMP AR approach, is actually quite a good move, really. So an RMP AR approach is a GPS-based profile, and the AR part stands for radius to fit. You need to have the equipment on board to be able to fly very precise tracks, very precise curves. And we're starting to see them appear more and more in airports around Europe. In fact, Innsbruck now has got a few. Dubrovnik's got one. They're mainly used in tricky places where normally you'd have to rely on very old-fashioned VORs and NDBs to fly down valleys and stuff like that. But that'll really help things out if they can change the approach path itself to allow these aircraft to fly in. The only issue I can see is range. They haven't increased the runway length, so payload and range are going to be quite an interesting payoff. You're not going to be getting down to the Canaries in a 320neo with a full load. No chance. It's not happening. So you might be able to get to places in Spain. Or, I mean, and if they really want to go further, then it would involve a tech stop for fuel, and you've immediately lost all of the benefits of flying out there. Why would an airline do that? So yeah, be interesting.
Now, Matt, I think have you got the short video that goes with the story for this?
Oh no, okay, bear with.
No,
chat amongst yourself. Well, no, there was just pictures there, as far as I was aware. So.
Hopefully it's in there. But yeah, I see what you mean, Andy, about the range thing. Because obviously, if you are flying the heavier aircraft in there, you obviously need to make the thing lighter to be able to take off when it's full. But with fuel, passengers, and obviously all the luggage and stuff that goes with it. But do you think this will ever happen?
It'd have to be a pretty good case for getting one in and out. A good business case. Oh, I see the videos on.
There we go. Let's watch this.
And we're supposed to be playing some sound. Sorry.
I'm currently one of only 27 captains qualified to carry out this landing on the Airbus 318 at London City on our exclusive premium service to New York. From a pilot's perspective, this is one of the most interesting approaches anywhere in the world. As we commence the initial turn, passing the London Eye on the left, the runway is at 90 degrees to the right of us. London City is a unique airport in its location in the heart of a major capital, with its proximity to the Shard, the tallest building in the UK, which you can see out of the right-hand window, and also the small size of its runway. Only British Airways' most experienced Airbus pilots can apply to fly on the route. All pilots on this bespoke 318 service must pass a rigorous extra training programme of simulator and route flying before being accepted onto the fleet. Our 318s are unique because they have the long range and the steep approach capability. They are equipped with special navigation systems to operate in the North Atlantic Oceanic Control Area and over intercontinental ranges. They also have more powerful engines. In fact, the aircraft has a better power-to-weight ratio and acceleration than Concorde. The runway is directly in front of us, surrounded by water, to the left of and above the O2 Arena. Our regular customers particularly enjoy this route to the airport as it affords a view which is unparalleled. As we start our descent with Canary Wharf below our right wing, it's easy to see one of the main challenges of operating into London City. The approach is steep, 5.5 degrees compared to the more usual 3 degrees used at other airports. This allows us to minimise the noise footprint of the approach and operate safely around the built-up areas of the city. The aircraft itself is specially modified to allow it to fly this approach, using spoilers on the wing to produce enough aerodynamic drag to maintain the approach speed. Taking manual control of the aircraft at 1,000 feet, the 3 clicks is the sound of the autopilot disengaging. This is followed by the voice call-out of standby flare, which warn me to prepare for the landing manoeuvre. As we reach the end of our approach, you can also see that the runway is a little shorter than most, which requires pinpoint accuracy when landing. Placing the main wheels on the tarmac softly but firmly ensures the aircraft can be safely stopped on the 1,350 metres of runway. The aircraft is equipped with powerful brakes and thrust reversers, which mean we still only need little more than half the runway length to stop. We then carry out a U-turn on a runway that is significantly narrower than the one at Heathrow. The aircraft can achieve a complete 180-degree turn within its own body length. In August, the service will complete 25 million miles since its inception. A remarkable achievement in just over 6 years of operation with only 2 aircraft. This is the equivalent of 100 trips to the moon or circling the Earth 1,000 times.
Wow. How
Yeah,
cool was
quite.
that?
I mean, that video is a few years old now because they've since phased out the 318s. And I think, as it said in the chat room, Captain Cruz actually said in the chat room that most of they're all been scrapped. But it kind of gives you an idea of what the approach is like into London City Airport. What do you think of that, Andy?
Yeah, that's the conventional approach into there. But if they introduce this RMP AR approach, where they fly over Canary Wharf, instead of doing that, what they can actually do is loop around sort of the area of the Millennium Dome, the O2. You could just make a curved approach around there, descending towards the runway. And that's the 320 is more than capable of doing that with the latest computer software on board. So it could work for them, but like I say, range, that's going to be the key. So it's going to be interesting to see what studies they do and how far they can go from sea. Good luck them.
Right, next one is a story that I think most people would have seen on social media this week because it was quite a biggie. Also, we've got a little video to play as well for this one. This is from allthews.foxweather.com, and it was lightning strike, BA plane, while parked at Brazil airport. So while waiting for his flight, a BA passenger captured the moment lightning struck the aircraft that he was going to be riding home on last Friday. The incident occurred at São Paulo Goiás airport in southern Brazil, where passenger Bernard Was said a huge storm had moved in and grounded flights such as his. Was saw his the opportunity for some weather cinematography. He said, as we were watching out the window, it was clear that lightning was striking near the airfield, so I went to capture some footage, thinking it would be good to have our aircraft in shot, he said. I got lucky, and the strike happened right in front of me. War's video shows lightning striking the aircraft while it was parked at the gate. Commercial aircraft, such as the one in the video, are hit by lightning only once or twice a year on the average, according to the National Weather Service. They noted that the planes are designed and built to withstand lightning strikes. However, once struck, the aircraft normally undergoes mandatory inspections, which can delay flights sometimes. What do you think of this, Andy? As our seasoned pilot.
Lightning strikes are very common. Happen all the time.
Incredible bit of video, though. So good to see that. But
I wonder where it exited the airframe. That's my question. Because they're just big Faraday cages at the end of the day. And that's why it will need a check. At least they know where it entered. Because normally when you get a lightning strike, you don't know where it's come in. But you've got to find the entry point and the exit points and make sure that the airframe is okay in those positions.
Yeah.
And that takes a long time normally, because there could be multiple points.
Yeah, plus the Dreamliner. I think that is a Dreamliner, isn't it? In the BA one. But
yeah,
they're all composite on the carbon fibre.
Yes, but it has a mesh in it that you still have to, because if it didn't, have you ever seen carbon fibre get hit by electricity? It can fragment very easily. That's what it would do. So you still need to turn it into the Faraday cage style thing where it's a mesh inside the composite so that it can conduct it out and away again.
Question in the chat room from Dirk S. Andy, are these connected to ground when attached to a passenger bridge?
The only time aircraft are grounded properly is when they're being refueled. It could have... I mean, I suppose it is grounded as it's on the ground and on its rubber wheels. Yeah, it's an interesting one, that. I've only ever dealt with lightning strikes in the air, never on the ground.
I was going to say, it's quite interesting to see that. Well, it's rare, I should say. I think I've seen more videos on YouTube of aircraft getting struck in the air than I have done on the ground. But obviously it does happen. But yeah.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
As a passenger, Matt, I think if you were stood in the gate there where he took the video from, I'm fairly confident that you wouldn't have been too impressed by seeing that happen.
So weirdly, that wouldn't have bothered me too much. Weirdly, because as Andy says, it will have been an inspection would have been carried out, so it will have delayed your flight. But frankly, if engineers have said yes, the plane was struck by lightning, but we're happy it's okay, I would take them at their word. It wouldn't cause me any additional anxiety. The turbulence thing's worrying me at the moment. But other than that, I wouldn't bat an eyelid, to be honest.
Take a lightning strike over a bird strike any day.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Matt, you got the next one.
So I hear
about jumbos.
Indeed. Where are we? Yes, indeed. It's Paddle Your Own Canoe, which I still am not convinced isn't a fake, silly site of some description. What a ridiculous name. PaddleYourOwnCanoe.com is the source on this one. The headline is Lufthansa is flying empty Boeing 747 jumbo jets over 2,000 kilometres just to pick up fuel due to ongoing shortages. A German flag carrier Lufthansa is flying empty Boeing 747-8 jumbo jets more than 2,000 kilometres in order to pick up extra fuel due to an ongoing shortage of jet fuel at South Africa's largest airport in Johannesburg. The issues at Johannesburg, or Tambo International Airport, started on the 4th of January when a fire at a large petroleum refinery in South Africa knocked out production of Jet A kerosene nationally. It remains unclear when production will return to normal. In the meantime, the airport operator says it has enough jet fuel to keep the airport at normal capacity until the 2nd of February, although airlines are being encouraged to come up with contingency plans should the shortage drag on. While some carriers have complained that access to jet fuel at the airport is already being restricted. One solution that the Airports Company of South Africa, the ACSA, has already told airlines to proactively explore is tankering the fuel they require from an alternative airport, negating the need to refuel in Johannesburg completely. Tankering is commonly used for shorter flights whereby the airline will fill the plane with enough fuel at its departure airport to get to and from an airport experiencing shortages without needing to refuel or only requiring a small amount of extra fuel. In Lufthansa's case, however, it wouldn't be possible to put enough fuel on a Boeing 747-8 to fly the 8,500 kilometres distance from Frankfurt to Johannesburg and back again. Like many European carriers, Lufthansa operates an overnight flight to South Africa and then leaves the aircraft parked on the ground all day before a nighttime return to Germany. So the airline is now using its spare time on the ground to fly its empty Boeing 747s, the 1,166 kilometre distance to Windhoek in Namibia, where the plane is fully refueled before returning to Johannesburg. Now, the thing that shocks me the most about that story is I thought the 747s had sort of stopped being passenger planes.
No, this is the Dash 8, Matt. So this is the very last iteration of the 747 that Boeing produced before they stopped. I think they've stopped the Dash 8. I think have they finished the Dash 8? I think apparently, yeah. So it's the Dash 8 was a kind of that had a slightly revised wing and bits and pieces, but Lufthansa used these, and I'm trying to think who else used these.
They still have 400s.
Yeah,
well.
it
Korean.
was.
I've got them.
Korean, yeah, they're a little bit more fuel efficient. The wings are slightly blended at the ends, Matt. So they kind of, rather than having the sort of the shark fins, they have like a tapered wing at the end on the 74-8s. But yeah, the tankering of fuel thing is not a new thing. I wouldn't have thought that the airline that you fly for, Andy, has to sort of tanker fuel for any reason.
Tanker.
You do.
Yeah, because it's sometimes way cheaper to burn the extra fuel and carrying the extra weight than it is to fill up down route.
Ah.
So there are some places where we'll tanker into, depending on the price of fuel at the time.
So is the price of fuel in Europe, does it differ a lot between countries in Europe itself?
It can vary, and it can vary depending on what contract you've got with the suppliers in certain places as well. Some places have a limited supply of fuel, so it costs more. And it's all down to just is what's more economical, really, for the airline. Not what's more environmentally friendly, but what's more economical.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But the bit that gets me with this is, why not just change the return flight time to a few hours earlier and save 2 cycles on the airframe? Because you're using a cycle doing this each direction, so that's reducing the life of the airframe. And why not just load the aircraft up, fly the distance to Namibia, fill it up, and then carry on to Frankfurt? It seems a bit pointless doing this.
I see what you mean.
Darren Smith, sorry, Matt. Darren Smith in the chat room saying that. Let me just pop that in the chat room there. He's flying a Dash 8 to LAX later in the year. I tell you what, I'm jealous because I would love to take a trip on a 747 again, especially the Dash 8 because I've never flown a Dash 8. The 400 we have, but not the Dash 8. And they are few and far between unless you fly with Lufthansa. I think the only chance that we'd get to fly with a Dash 8 here would be with Lufthansa.
Right.
But yeah, they are stunning to look at, Matt. If you get a chance to Google a picture of the 74-8, it does look really nice with those blended wings.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of why I was saying that I was a bit sort of surprised because, we ran stories, was it last year or the year before, where we were saying that, 747 passenger flights were coming to an end, like with BA and lots of other major carriers and stuff. I didn't realise that the Dash 8 was still very much in service.
Yeah, with Lufthansa, that is. I mean, the thing with the Dash 8 is Boeing. I think Boeing released it as a kind of a bit more fuel efficient version of the 747, but it never really kind of, how do I forgive the pun, took off. It wasn't took on by hundreds of different airlines. It was Lufthansa and, as Andy was saying, Korean, Air China, that took these on, and cargo versions as well.
Shoot me down if this is a daft analogy, but it almost seems a bit like the whole sort of Emirates A380 sort of thing, where because there are other people that have had them, but it was one carrier mostly that. BA has got a handful, haven't they? But
yeah, the age of 4 engines is gone. It's over.
Yeah, that's a shame. Now, Andy, you have got the next story about Airbus.
Yes. This comes from avweb.com, and it's Airbus bows out of cargo business. Airbus discovered that success in the airliner business does not necessarily translate to success in the airline business. The plane maker shut down its oversized cargo carrier Beluga last week after just 14 months in operation. And the reason cited for the sudden closure? It's too hard, according to the company that built the A380. AIBT is not ending operations because of changes in the air freight market, a spokesman said. The main challenge was the significant operational difficulties. Beluga was born when Airbus phased in a new generation of oversized part carriers based on the A330 to replace the original aircraft, which were built on the A300, the first Airbus airliner. The first generation Belugas still had lots of life left in them, but weren't big enough for the A350 parts that Airbus needed to move. The 4 Belugas were still plenty big enough to carry satellites, engines and other big things that needed to be moved carefully and quickly, so the company was formed in late 22. While Airbus has not publicly disclosed the reason for shutting down the wing, its customers were told that it was due to economic factors. With the fleet returning to Airbus Transport International, the manufacturer is uncertain what the A300 600 STs will be used for in the medium and long term. And CH Aviation's fleet module shows that all 6 are currently in active service with Airbus Transport International. Well, there we go. They tried. It didn't work.
I'm sort of surprised by that, though, really. I mean, because I don't know. I mean, I presume that the planes will still be used for, for ferrying around like various Airbus bits and pieces. I mean, I presume we're still going to see the Belugas in the air.
No, the Belugas have been retired in favour of the what's the new one called? Beluga XL.
Oh,
XL,
okay,
yeah.
right, yeah.
That's the fleet that's used now. This was these aircraft were put to one side to be used for outside work. Right. So they thought they could make some money out of that.
I see. Yeah.
But it's not worked.
No.
But I'm surprised someone doesn't snap them up, because as a cargo aircraft, they're quite even the older, the ones that are based on the 300.
Yeah, but it's extremely niche. It's not a niche. Yeah. It's a very small subtype that needs specific maintenance. All of the equipment that's used to load it is owned by Airbus. So it's a tricky one. That I don't think these have got a life outside of Airbus,
which is a shame.
Oh no, I tell you, Global can buy them.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Darren's saying in the chat room that Airbus cargo prices were higher than other cargo operators, so it was never going to last long.
Yeah. They still look cool, though, when you see them.
Oh, they
I've
do.
seen one once flying overhead, and it was quite a sight to see.
I've been in one.
Oh,
A
wow.
fantastic aircraft, yeah. Yeah, I've been inside. In the cargo deck, in the flight deck. And the flight deck door is about, I'd say, 15 centimetres thick. Because it's the bulkhead as well. That's the only part of the aircraft that's pressurised is the flight deck.
Wow.
Interesting.
Interesting, very, yeah. Right, next story. And we have got 3 top 10s with this one. And it's from Aviation. What's the format?
I'm not a fan of top 10s, I've got to be honest.
Oh, shush.
Okay.
Christ, we do them on Park Radio all the time.
Do we?
Busiest global, international and European top 10 airports in the world, 2024. So this is based on figures from last year. The 2024 witnessed a remarkable evolution in global aviation with significant growth in airline capacities as air travel continued to rebound. According to OAG data, this analyst offers a detailed breakdown of the busiest airports worldwide, segmented into global, international and regional rankings. From Atlanta's dominance to Dubai's strategic positioning, this report highlights a shifting of dynamics of air travel in post-pandemic world. So we're going to take a look at the key insights and trends of shaping aviation in 2024. So we're going to look at the top 10 first of the busiest global airports. So we're going to start at number 10 with this one. In at 10, it's O'Hare, Chicago O'Hare, coming in at 992,360. Pudong in Shanghai is at number 9. Istanbul at 8. I can't bloody pronounce this one. Bayonne in Guangzhou. Number 6 is Denver. Number 5 is Dallas-Fort Worth. At number 4 of the busiest global airports, Heathrow came in at 51,553,190. At number 3, Haneda in Tokyo. Number 2 was Dubai. I thought that would have been at the top. So Dubai was in at 60,236,220. And at the top of the list for the busiest global airports was Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson Airport over in the US with 62,743,665. So let's look at the busiest international airports of last year. In at 10 was Doha, quite a big throughput airport, that one. Hong Kong International, number 9. Number 8 was Frankfurt International. Number 7, Charles de Gaulle. Oh, God, I can't stand that airport. In Paris, number 6 was Istanbul Airport. An up-and-coming busy one, that one. Number 5, Amsterdam. Not surprised there. Amsterdam showing 39,998,853. Singapore, Changi Airport in at number 4. Seoul Incheon Airport in Korea at number 3. In at number 2, London Heathrow was 48,358,450. And number 1, not surprising, Dubai with 60,236,220. Right. Last up is the busiest European airports. Be interesting to see what Andy thinks of this one with the European ones. Number 10 was London Gatwick, kicking off with 25.5 million. Munich was in at 9. Rome Fiumicino Airport in Italy, number 8. Barcelona at number 7. Madrid, the Madrid Adolfo Suarez Barras Airport. Number 5 was Frankfurt. Andy's laughing. Frankfurt International Airport. Amsterdam in at 4. Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. Oh, blimey.
I mean, this kind of serves you right.
Istanbul.
Really.
There we go. Istanbul.
You need to stay off the beer, mate. If you're
number
gonna
two. I know. Sorry. But the busiest European airport of last year was our very own London Heathrow, with 51,553,190. Andy, what do you think of the European charts? Does that sit correct with you with how busy things are here in Europe?
Well, when they say busy, this is talking about how many seats. I mean, if you fly 380s into everywhere, you're going to have a lot more seats than if you fly 320s in, aren't you? And it takes up the same slot. So I think this is a bit skewed, personally. I mean, yeah. I still don't understand. The total capacity, the first one, I guess that's seats as well, 62 million. So, yeah, I don't really count this as anything, really. Movements would be far more indicative of how busy an airport is.
It seems that Hartsfield Jackson always seems to come out as the busiest airport in the world globally, I think, every year.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. Andy, good news for you, the next story. I think you'll be quite excited with this one because it's sort of your neck of the woods as such.
Oh, a little bit south of me, yeah. This is from the independent.co.uk. Over 100 million of public money will be used to reopen airport due to council failings. Plans to reopen Doncaster Sheffield Airport now rely on over 100 million of public money after the council failed to secure a private operator. City of Doncaster Council has confirmed that an unnamed international airport operator is waiting in the wings to partner with a new council-owned company, Fly Doncaster, and run the airport. According to Subsidy Advice Unit findings, the council would set up Fly Doncaster using £105.2 million of subsidised interest loans. The airport, formerly known as Robin Hood Airport, has been closed since November 22 after the site was declared not financially viable by Peel Group, the landowners. In November 24, the City of Doncaster Council requested a report concerning a proposed subsidy to Fly Doncaster Limited after the South Yorkshire Mayoral Authority gave the council £3 million to support the airport's opening. The report published by SAU on the 22nd of January said £60.6 million would cover start-up costs and a £44.6 million loan would be used for rent deferral to be repaid over 25 years. It also recommended that the council explain more clearly to taxpayers why it chose to create a new company to operate the airport rather than a private operator. Last March, the council signed a lease agreement with Peel covering the site for 125 years. Doncaster Mayor Ross Jones said last year that the first passenger flights could take off as soon as spring 2026. The Mayor said at a council meeting, "I want to confirm to the council and the people of Doncaster that we have an international airport operator ready and waiting in the wings to work with us. And Fly Doncaster is a wholly owned company of this council, which has been established to manage the airport and partner with our international airport operator." And there's a few of the bits from that meeting there. What do you think about reopening Doncaster?
Well, it's a bit far for us to travel. Well, me and Matt anyway, but... Was it a busy airport, Andy, when it was operational?
No. I don't see the point. You've got Leeds, Manchester. The Peel Group ran it down on purpose, in my opinion. I think they wanted to use the land for something else. They kicked the Vulcan out, which I think they kicked it out of a hangar. It's still there, though, I think, sat on the ground. It just seems like a colossal waste of money, in my opinion. I don't like to see airports closed, but I just don't see the point.
Is it a big airport, Andy, in regards to sort of building the terminal and stuff?
No, the terminal's small. It's an old RAF airfield. So it's got a really big runway. And TUI used to do Mexico flights out of there, I believe, with the 787. But again, it didn't really make any money for them. They tried. I just don't see the point. If you look at other regional airports, it's like Teesside, that's constantly struggling, and that fortunately that keeps going due to MOD contracts that they have there to operate aircraft out of there. But again, I don't get it. Good luck to them.
Matt, you have got the next story, and we're talking again about low-cost travel, but this time a bit further afield.
Yes, indeed. Flightglobal.com is the source on this one. And Norse to open another transatlantic connection to Los Angeles. Long-haul budget carrier Norse Atlantic Airways is opening a new connection to Los Angeles from the Greek capital Athens. North Atlantic says it will commence the transatlantic service on the 3rd of June. It'll operate 4 times weekly using Boeing 787s, the only aircraft type used by the carrier. North Atlantic also serves Los Angeles from other European cities, London, Paris and Rome. The new route will mark the airline's commitment to offering new destinations for the US market. It states Chief Executive Bjorn Tor Larsen said that the carrier expects the uptake to be positive and open more transatlantic options for our customers. Now, according to this, so Carlos has very kindly done us some price comparisons. So with this data, London Gatwick to Los Angeles flying in June, return flights for 2 lucky PT UK hosts. Hello, where are you going? Norse, low-cost long-haul, is £1,569, and this sort of harps back onto Carlos's little rant at the beginning of the show, to be fair, right at the top there, where he was saying, weirdly in this case, the same flight would cost you with British Airways at the moment £955. So there's quite a huge difference between the 1,569 for Norse versus BA. Both include hold luggage and are in economy seats. Now, do you think that is this going to be one of those whereas you get a bit nearer to June, for example, which I think is the example you were looking at? Was it June?
Yeah, June, yeah.
Do you think, though, you'll find that as you get nearer, that there'll be a balance that goes the other way, where BA is, much more expensive, and then as where Norse will perhaps either drop or be closer?
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I mean, that's generally what tends to happen, isn't it? When you get close to the time you want to book. It's the same with train fares. When you look at the train fares for us here locally, if you try and book a train ticket to London for this coming Saturday, the fares will be ridiculous price. Whereas if you booked it 2 months ago, the price would be cheap. But it does, again, it proves a point that there is sometimes a argument for using the bigger airlines like BA and stuff and getting the flights cheaper. And I think the service, I think the cabin especially, when you look at the Norse are quite, they fit a lot of seats in that Dreamliner. I think it's it's max capacity kind of thing. So the service with BA would probably be better, and I probably would assume that with Norse you have to pay for your food, but I think with BA I didn't read that much into the ticket, but I'm pretty sure that with BA on that flight you would get a basic meal service. You
get a meal on long haul.
Yeah,
even in World Traveller.
Yeah,
I don't understand Norse's business model. They seem to be operating from all sorts of random airports to the States. I never thought they'd be flying out of Athens to LA.
Yeah, it does seem like a bit of a strange... Yeah, don't know.
And I'm still very surprised that they're in existence, personally.
Yeah.
It's just Norwegian Mark II. It's exactly the same management behind it and everything. But it'd be interesting. That's a lot of money difference, though, between BA and Norse. But it might be interesting to see what it is out of Athens. Because you won't have the APD tax and stuff like that to worry about, because they don't charge that over there. So yeah, see what happens.
Right. And for our last story this evening, it's an and finally story.
Ooh.
Here we go. This is the interesting one. This is from the dailymail.co.uk, and a VW Golf owner faces, are you ready for this? A £170,000 parking ticket after leaving car parked outside airport for 1 year.
Oh.
So a VW Golf owner is facing a £170,000 parking ticket for leaving their car parked outside an airport in Germany for over a year. Quite how the car managed to stay that long, I do not know. The grey car apparently had been left abandoned by its unknown owner directly in front of the entrance to Berlin Airport. Vehicles are only permitted to use the car park for a short period of time. Only the first 10 minutes are free, with 15 minutes costing you £4.20. Every additional minute costs you £1.60, and an hour of parking totals a full £19.30. But with a daily parking fee of a whopping £464, the grey Golf has now accumulated a staggering fee of over £170,000. Airport staff and local authorities have been left scratching their heads over who the car belongs to and why it has been left at the short-term parking lot for such a long period of time. According to Bild, one potential theory is that the car had been stolen before being left dumped outside Berlin Airport, and German newspaper Berliner Zeitung reached out to Hanover police as well as the Berlin police, but there was no trace of the Golf on record. Stuttgart-based company APCO Deutschland is responsible for the airport's car park, and its manager told the newspaper that they are aware of the bizarre case and were in contact with the relevant authorities. When asked whether the car parking company intends to collect the outstanding parking fees of over £170,000, the company said whether parking fees owed in this context can be collected depends on whether the debtor can be identified and has the necessary financial means. There we go.
Well, I wouldn't admit owning that.
No.
But surely the DVLA can tell them.
Oh, apparently not, looking at this. But also, they never... Why didn't they tow it? Why didn't they move it after a couple of days? It's mad.
I don't get it.
Good story, though.
I mean, there's a comment from Ace Airstream on the chat room that if you've seen the particular film, will know exactly what this is from.
Sounds like that taxi in Airplane left outside the airport by Ted Stryker, complete with fare on board.
Yeah. Right at the start of the film, that is very, very good.
Yeah,
very
I really must watch that at some point.
Yeah, it's they're never going to get that money. I mean, you might as well just tow the car, scrap it,
or sell it or something.
Sell it.
I mean, I'm sure you could ask for
write that money off, because you're never going to get it. You're never going to get that money. Not in a million years. But there you go. They might get 20 quid, that's about it. They might get 300 quid scrap, because that's what we get here in the UK for scrapping a car.
Yeah.
300 quid. Anyway, right. It is time for what is, for some of the listeners on the show and for some of the viewers, especially in the YouTube chat room, the favourite part of the show, which is Retro Airline Ad of the Week. So this week, we head back to the golden era of business class travel and take a look at what Virgin were doing back then. And it's worth checking out the price at the end of this advert.
Every airline will tell you how comfy its business class seats are. But the truth is that on a 7-hour flight, no seat is that comfortable. So Virgin Atlantic's upper class offers you more than wide seats. A separate lounge to move around in, complimentary videos, movies, 4-course meals, snacks, a chauffeur to Gatwick, a limo or helicopter to Manhattan. Even a free economy class ticket. All for the lowest fully inclusive business class fare. Virgin Atlantic. We cut fares, not corners.
£499. My goodness.
One way, that's one way. That's in business class, though.
Wow.
I'm fairly confident if Virgin were charging 500 quid to travel business class there or one way and then 500 quid back, there'd be a lot of people take them up on that offer.
Yeah, I dare say.
But how look at that video though, how business class seats have changed since the 80s.
Yeah.
Do you know how much that is now though? £489.
What's that now, Andy?
1,500 quid.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
right. Yeah,
okay.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's quite similar. I'm full of joy tonight, aren't I?
Yes, absolutely. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, so that was this week's Retro Airline of the Week, courtesy of Virgin there from 1985. But it's definitely eye-opening how much the business class model has changed over the years. You know, mind you, when you look at the economy seats back in the world of Laker, remember the DC-10s, Andy, had the economy seats in there were like armchairs, even
big,
back then,
big
economy,
and comfy.
Yeah, big and
Nice.
comfy. Honestly, Matt, I wish that you could have travelled back then in economy on one of those aircraft, because you would have been so impressed by the comfort of the seats. They were huge, honestly. Right, so that's the ad. We're going to have some more ads next week on the show, but it's time for Jonathan Warner's favourite part of the show. He's in the chat room as well, which is always a good sign, and it's the time for the grey stuff. So, Matt, hit the military button.
What's up, bogies 135, 50, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 108 bogies.
Yes, and the first story this week is from the bbc.co.uk. Fighter jet canopy dumped in mid-air emergency. A fighter jet has landed safely after an in-flight emergency, the RAF has said. The Air Force confirmed the canopy of the Typhoon from 11th Squadron at RAF Coningsby had been jettisoned by the pilot during a flight which took it over the North Sea. A spokesperson for the RAF had earlier said it was due to a suspected bird strike, and the aircraft was recovered safely. The aircraft recovered safely to its Lincolnshire base, and the pilot was fine, they added. Richard Boucher, a photographer who was at the scene when the fighter jet landed, said that he heard over a scanner that a pilot had declared an emergency due to losing the canopy. The jet with no canopy was escorted back to base with a wingman. They came in very low and with a reduced airspeed to normal, he added. The incident comes a week after the RAF launched an investigation after a pylon had detached itself from a Typhoon near Bridlington on the 17th of January, and we talked about that last week. So yes, good job here. It must be horrible flying one of those without a canopy.
Can you just move that canopy bag out of the way? Don't get it in shot. Don't let me see
Sure, I'm sure that's how that works. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Have you been into the North Sea to pick it up? Have you, Carlos?
No,
more than
unfortunately
likely.
not.
Yeah,
unfortunately not.
Say that's the most likely thing, isn't it?
Although I think, given the choice of various items of military hardware for Jonathan Warner to have hanging on his wall, I'm sure he would love the canopy from a Eurofighter Typhoon.
Yeah.
And like Andy said, you know, God, that must have been awful flying. I know that obviously the pilot's got the helmet, the helmet and stuff on, but I bet it's a very noisy and chilly environment when you've got no canopy on the front of a Typhoon. Now, Matt, you've got the next one, and the Royal Air Force are having an exercise.
Are they? Right, okay. It's, oh, hello, got me wrong button. Press 1 second. Here we go. It's forcenews.com is the source on this one, and the headline is RAF takes on one of the world's toughest exercises with global partners. So Royal Air Force pilots are taking on one of the world's most demanding air combat training exercises alongside US, Canadian and Australian forces. Exercise Red Flag Nellis 25-1 is designed to sharpen warfighting skills and takes place from the 27th of January to the 14th of February at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. British participants include Rivet Joint aircrew from 51 Squadron, air operations controllers from 19 and 20 squadrons, 8 Typhoon fighter jets, and a Voyager air-to-air refueling aircraft. The RAF will undertake intensive training missions that simulate the first 10 combat missions of a modern air campaign, widely regarded as the most perilous for air crews. Generations of UK aviators have taken part in exercise Red Flag, which is considered a cornerstone of international military cooperation and readiness. RAF tactical command and control teams will play a critical role managing and coordinating aircraft alongside ground, maritime, cyber and space-based units to achieve mission success. In 2025, Red Flag will involve approximately 3,000 personnel and up to 150 aircraft operating from 15 different locations. Scenarios include large force employment missions against sophisticated aggressor forces, which feature simulated enemy fighter jets, ground-based radars, surface-to-air missiles, and even cyber and space-based threats. Space-based threats. That sounds very much like a scene from Independence Day.
I'm just thinking, can you imagine if you're the person who's got to organise 3,000 personnel?
Well, the good news is they get lots of training for that. So
I'd hope so.
I think they'll be all right.
I mean, it's an amazing thing to put together, and obviously with an exercise like that, you've got different aircraft, different personnel as such as well, and obviously different countries, and the way that we're trained and the way that the US pilots are trained is obviously slightly different, I'd imagine. But yeah, I'd imagine it would be a show that Mr. Warner would love to watch.
I bet.
Yeah. This next one comes to us from flightglobal.com, and this is an aircraft that I've been lucky enough in the past to have a tour around, which was awesome. Lockheed have delivered their final MC-130J to the US Air Force. Military airframer Lockheed Martin has delivered the final production example of the MC-130J Commando 2 Special Operations Transport to the US Air Force. Aircraft number 5994 was turned over to its end user, the 58th Special Operations Wing at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, on the 16th of January. The four-engine turboprop rolled off Lockheed's production line in Marietta, Georgia in December, then was ferried to Wright-Patterson's Air Force Base in Ohio for post-production upgrades in the US Air Force's Rapid Development Integration Facility. The delivery concludes 14-year production run for the MC-130J, which is derived from the Lockheed's C-130J Hercules tactical transport. During that time, the US Air Force's Special Operations Command, or the AFSOC, says the type accrued more than 2,000 hours of flight time across 400 missions. Now, I was lucky a few years back when our very own Armando retired from the US Air Force. I got the chance to go and spend a day with Armando, and we had a tour of this particular aircraft, and it is definitely a sight to see, especially inside, although we weren't allowed to take photos, funnily enough, being the particular brand of 130 this was, but it was very interesting to see up close, and the paint job as well is pretty damn awesome. But yeah, the final one of the MC-130Js then. I'm just reading in the chat room there. Oh no, just looking at the chat room. There's some comments from the story previously for the Canopy release one. But yeah, good news for Lockheed, that last one there. And we've still got quite a few of these flying in and around us here, Matt. I think especially where me and you work in Dis in Norfolk. They appear quite regularly going into the Air Force Base, which is not far from where we are. So yeah, we are lucky in that respect, Matt, actually. Did you hear the Apaches come over yesterday, Matt?
No.
I'm surprised you didn't, because even with the radio up full blast in my office at work, there was an Apache that came over at I think about 1,000 feet or thereabouts.
I saw, because I work in quite a busy call centre, it's sort of difficult to sort of pick it out really from everything that's going on, really. So yeah.
Do you get a lot of military stuff around where you live, Andy, in and around? Is there any military bases near where you are?
No, they're all further north or further south. Get the occasional Hawk and Typhoon and stuff, but you can pick them out pretty quickly.
Yeah, we are.
Guys must be used to it all the time.
We are lucky here. Yeah, we are quite used to it here. Ospreys, 130s. I think we pretty much get everything come over here, Matt, at some point in time, don't we? Because we are in a valley as such, aren't we, here?
Sure, why not? I don't know, Carlos. It's rubbish.
It's pretty much flat as a pancake where you
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. I know there's quite a lot of exercises and stuff, especially over the Southwold coast and things. There's quite often some stuff. But we don't get buzzed that much around here, do we?
Well, I don't know about you. I see them quite often.
Yeah.
The Apaches are the Apaches are the ones that tend to hover around here and kind of loiter around.
Okay. Yeah.
In the evenings.
Fair.
There we go. Right, so we're going to start to wrap things up for this week, but we did have a little discussion last week after we came off air in regards to what we're doing with the air shows this year. I'm going to be putting some stuff on our social media probably next week, the beginning of next week, but we are looking to attend this year in June the Duxford Summer Air Show. That's on the 21st of June this year, so if you are looking for something to do air show wise in June, we'd love for you to join us on that day. It's June the 21st. It's a Saturday for the Duxford Summer Air Show. It's a big air show. We've attended that one quite a few years now. It's a good day, isn't it, Matt? We've really enjoyed ourselves at Duxford.
Yeah,
we do get lots of people join us as well, which is lovely. Also in July, we're going to be hopefully heading this year to the Shuttleworth Summer Air Show. That's, as I said, July the 26th this year. We've not been to that one before, so we're going to try the Shuttleworth Summer Air Show this year and see what that's like. In August, hopefully, Nev's going to be sorting out some details tonight with Alan, our good friend in Dublin. We hopefully will be going over to the Bray Air Show in Dublin as well this year to go and see what that's all about, because it's a great air show as well. And we've got some very good friends there who work within the air show that can get us quite good access. So we're looking forward to that one this year. September the 20th this year, so a bit heading sort of a bit towards the end of the year. It's the Sywell Classic Air Show, which is kind of in between where Nev is and where me and Matt are here in the country as such. So that's on the 20th of September this year, Sywell Classic Air Show. And then towards the end of the year, we're going to have a meet-up as well, another meet-up at Beccles, like we had last year, where we had our flying meet-up, where we had Captain Al flew in and joined us for the day, didn't he, which was great. And I was very lucky. I got a helicopter ride with our good friend Stuart O'Neill.
Did, yes, absolutely,
which
looked
is good fun.
Utterly terrifying.
It was... It was amazing.
It wasn't amazing. It was the most terrifying. Honestly, I mean, it didn't do anything to ease my fear of how those things make no sense as to how they fly. I'm just saying.
Yes. So, yes, we'll be doing a meet-up. So, details on all this I'll put on our social medias next week for those of you listening as well as the audio podcast. So, they're the air shows we're hoping to attend this year. Darren's put in the chat room, do RIAT on the Sunday. Do you know what, Darren? We would love to do RIAT again. We haven't done it for a few years. The problem is with RIAT, Darren, it is quite a stretch for me and Matt to get to from here. What's it, Matt? Like 4.5 hour drive?
It took a little while. Yeah, it took a little while.
Yeah, it's about 4.5 hour drive, and that's pretty much the same for Nev. And it is a long, long way to go. And unfortunately, as well, it's a lot of money. It's 70, as Darren's just put quite rightly in the chat room. It's £75 a ticket to get into that air show this year, which is quite the expensive ticket this year, isn't it, Matt? 75 quid.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a family of 4, that makes for quite an expensive weekend. But so yeah, we won't be doing that this year, unfortunately. Richard Adams, no, I don't think Matt will be up for that this year. The skydive.
I don't even want to know.
No, he's not going to do that. Perhaps we can entice Matt into a helicopter this year at the meet-up that we have at Beccles. No? Okay.
No, thanks. I'm all right.
But remember, Matt, you did go in Captain Al's PA-28.
But that didn't. Yeah, that was fun.
That was good fun, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you enjoyed
it was.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You enjoyed that. Yeah. So there we go. That's hopefully what we'll be doing this year. As I said, I'll put some details on our social medias later on next week for those of you who follow us as well. So there we go. And that is about it for the show. gonna go and head off and go and check out the boys because they're probably tearing stuff up in the house.
Oh, more than likely.
More than likely. But quick round robin then. Andy, what is going on in the world of Andy next week? Anything exciting? Anything aviation related?
Well, yes, I've just looked at my diary and I'm not going to be here for a few weeks.
Oh, no.
Dun, dun, dun.
Next week, I am instructing quite a bit. And I've got a fair bit of other bits and pieces to do as well. And next Wednesday, my wonderful wife has been honoured by the Charity Main for all of her fundraising. So we're at Do in London,
that.
which will be very nice. And then the week after, I am instructing on the Wednesday and the week after as well. So I might not be around for a few weeks, chaps.
That's fair enough. That's very
Well, you
cool.
always say to me, you're going to do some work, and now I'm going to go and do some.
Yeah, he's got to do some. Absolutely. That's fair enough. That is fair enough.
Just the one in the chat room there, Matt.
Jonathan Warner is saying, I daren't list my air shows for this year. I know. It's, yeah. We understand.
The Seagate are already building a new hard drive for Jonathan Warner that will be
absolutely
6 billion terabytes.
That still won't be big enough.
No, that won't be big enough, no. Just for one air show as well. Yeah, lots of talk in the chat room about the cost of RIAT this year. Jonathan Warner's saying, Jonathan Warner is saying, there we go, I'll pop that up on the screen. £285 for his free app pass this year. That's a holiday.
That is genuinely.
That's a holiday.
Yeah, that is pretty brutal. Yeah.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah,
Matt, anything exciting going on in the world of Mr. Smith over the next week?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
No, not a lot really. Yeah, lots of doctor's appointments and stuff like that. So very riveting stuff. Yeah.
Riveting stuff. Yeah. Excellent. Well, I'm not going to be doing much either. I'm off next week. Got a week off. We are having a week at home with the boys because they're growing at a rate of knots, literally.
Yeah.
So a week at home with the boys, a few bits and pieces planned. Heading up to Norfolk one day for a look on the coast, which will be nice. Quite looking forward to that.
Definitely.
But yes, on that subject of actually, just thinking, we were talking earlier about holidays and stuff, Matt. I'm hoping to win the premium bonds this week, so I'll take the whole team away.
Oh, lovely. Excellent. Good news.
just saying, fingers crossed and all that.
Perhaps wait till Andy's back from his various.
Yeah, well, I'll Andy can fly us there.
No.
I'll hire a 320.
That's a
Andy can
busman's
fly.
holiday. No, absolutely not. It's a bit like you asking me to drive a coach when we're all going on holiday or something like. No, you're all right, thanks.
Oh dear. Oh, and before we wrap up the show, I will just say that in the not too distant future, we're hoping to do this within the next couple of weeks. We're going to have Andy Keegan back from the Plane Reclaimers back on the show. Just going to trying to arrange a Wednesday that fits well with Andrew. But I shall put the links and stuff on the social media when we do have Andrew on. But just keep that one in mind for those of you who may have watched the Plane Reclaimers series on Discovery. The channel. We had Andrew on about nearly 4 years ago. We had Andrew on the show, and they deal with all the aircraft that go to St Athan to be scrapped and parted out for different bits. So we're going to be having Andrew back on the show very soon. So keep that one in mind. If you've got questions and stuff, you could send them in as well to us if you wanted to. Details on that at the end of the show with questions that we're going to be asking him. So yeah, that's a little snippet of goodness there for you there. On the subject of social medias, you can find out more about us online at Facebook, Twitter, or X. Do we call it Twitter or X, Matt?
X officially.
Oh, okay. Yeah. X, Instagram, and also you can search them for Plane Talking UK. You can email the show. It's podcast@planetalkinguk.com. There's also the website, all the w's.planetalkinguk.com. And why not subscribe as well to the YouTube channel to get notifications when we're live, as we are right now. And you can join the gorgeous chat room that we have joining us each week on the show. Also links on there to find out more about the team and also how to become a Patreon of the show and donate to keeping us going, keeping us steaming along. And just a bit of news on that. Matt, you're having some fun with the website, aren't you?
Yes. Alterations are being made as we speak. I've got so there is a new site on its way. So I need Andy. I need a blurb from you, basically. Blurb. Yeah, absolutely. And any picture you would like me to use, obviously. But that's. I will sort. It's pretty much a work in progress. Carlos has seen a very basic template that I'm sort of customizing and stuff. So work is underway.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Matt. Right, that is where we're going to bring episode 536 of the show to a close. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to send us some feedback, we would really love to hear from you all out there. We do very much appreciate it as well. Hopefully all the team, apart from Andy, because he's busy for the next few weeks, will be back next week on the show. So that's it for this week's episode. Thanks to Andy for joining us tonight. Thanks to Matt for pressing all the right buttons and for being his usual awesome self. And from me and all the team here, have a great rest of the week. And, if you're flying, have fun, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.
And that is a wrap. Well done, everyone. And thanks again to all the chat room. We are going to head off now because Andy has got a busy day tomorrow, so we're going to let him get away. And we are going to say goodbye to you glorious chat room lot as well. I'm going to head in. Matt's going to head off. And thanks again to everyone for tuning in tonight for the show. We really do appreciate you all. And as you're going to be away for the next 6 million weeks, Andy, we'll leave the last words to you.
Oh, well, thanks all for joining the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being here, and I'll see you all in about a month.
Oh,
take care. Bye-bye.